talking about the Polo Club, and Mr. Rankin says that.
Well, it was started in 1925, as I recall. The active guys who started were Dick Rogers, and Dick donated the land.
That's right.
And for the polo field, but after the polo came and then went, they quit playing. Then a whole bunch of us put in money to keep the club as it was without the polo. And one of the funniest things that I think I can tell you is that, what do you want?
Put it back.
Me?
Put it back.
Yeah, you put it back. Thank you, May. That's our, what do you call it?
Yeah. We have a
Our reserve, not,
yeah. Hidden reserves.
huh?
What happened? Dick gave the land, and then the polo quit.
Yeah, they ran several years.
So then he sold it, didn't he, at a very nominal price or something?
I don't know. I think he must have. I think when he sold his house to Joe Shovelin, he sold the polo club, sold the land and the building and all with it. But they formed an organization, and you all would know the Springfield people who were in it. They were definitely not polo
No.
enthusiasts.
No.
But we used to go out there, and the crowd I ran with, Joe Shovelin was one of them. We used to go out there on Sunday afternoons, Saturdays and Sundays, instead of at the country club. We gave up on the country club and started our get-togethers there at the Polo Club. And one of the funniest damn things, I think Eddie Bookwater instituted this game. They'd take some guy who had a small Ford car, and they'd take him down to the street, down to the road,
Yeah.
clear down the corner of the polo field, and blindfold him. And he was supposed to bump into a great big oak tree that sat right right out of the club. It was right in front of the club, and we'd all sit on the ground or chairs or what around this oak tree, and he was supposed to hit that oak tree blindfolded
with his car. Oh my!
If that wasn't something, because there was no hazard involved, because the polo field was wide open and nothing around the edges of it.
You're a little bit like Pin the Tail on the Donkey, only with a car.
Yeah, Pin the Tail on the Donkey. And I can remember seeing Ed Greiner land his plane. He had a small plane, and he landed his plane on the polo field and then took off. The wind must have been out of the east or the northeast, because he took off right into the hill, where it goes up there, and flew his plane right straight up over the trees.
Oh, wow.
That was...
Well, Ed used to land in the country club fairways, too, and say hello to his friends.
Yeah.
Character.
But it was a great Saturday night, Sunday night hangout for all of us. Joe Shovelin and myself, the two Robbins girls, Fred Cole, and
Were you in your 20s then, perhaps, or 30 years old, something like that?
age-wise,
Yeah.
Be older than that.
well, What the hell, now wait a minute. 20s and 30s.
Uh-huh. A young crowd.
Yeah.
And then you had 2 tennis courts there.
2 tennis courts, yeah. And they kept them pretty well. And a good pool. A good. And
Well, we have that again.
Huh?
We have that again. The pool has been restored.
We're thinking of putting in a competitive game of croquet.
They are, you say?
We're thinking about it.
Oh.
You know, high class.
Well, do you all ever go out there?
Oh yeah, we're
yeah,
members.
we're there
We
regularly.
enjoy
Oh,
it.
you are?
As a matter of fact, the Sunday afternoon session has sort of been revived, and we're out there quite frequently late Sunday afternoon as a group that gets together.
Oh.
Very nice. We enjoy it. Very social.
Hi there, Martha.
Hello, Martha.
I went down the street.
Good for
Good
you.
for you.
Good. You needed it.
I sure am.
Got you all pooped out, did we?
Good?
Got you all pooped out, did we?
No, you didn't.
Well, I was working at it.
Oh, I'm ashamed of
For years.
Oh. Well, I knew it, must have known it.
Really nice guy.
The Polo Club must have been pretty far out of town, really, considering the time.
Well, I don't ever remember anybody complaining about the distance
No.
up the Urbana Pike.
Well, how many horses must there have been when you had a polo match? I've been told, Bud, that for every polo player, you must have a string of 3 or 4 or 5
yeah.
polo ponies.
5 ponies?
Yeah, so you must have had an awful lot of ponies out there.
No, but I'll tell you, the rich
it. My,
guys,
this is disgusting.
Eddie Griner, Dick Rogers,
No, nobody worries.
and Harold Prout, they were the rich guys who owned the ponies.
I'm into the tape recorder about the polo. Well, they quit playing polo then about 1930 or 32. But then when the big depression.
I'd say 35.
35.
Well,
I'd say
how many
10
ponies
years.
How many ponies would someone like Eddie Griner own, for
Oh,
example?
yeah, 5 or 6.
5 or 6, yeah.
And Dick Rogers had a string.
Yeah.
And they had the stables. They stabled them up there, and the fellow who took care of it was named Lehman. Lehman. He had a little cottage, and he and his wife lived right there, and he ran the club. And I can't remember who the professional polo player, but they had a professional.
Really? Gee.
He used to come up from Dayton, this pro. But Bud Thomas played, and I can't think now who. I don't think Beckley played. But it was that little group that I mentioned. Harold Prout, Ed Griner. And hell, if you go up there to Polo Club, why, it's going on just the way it used to.
Oh, yeah.
Good fun.
You go
No,
on
polo.
Saturday nights
Oh, yeah.
Saturday night, Sunday afternoons.
and Sunday afternoons.
Yeah.
Well, you know, out the front door, that level place,
Yes.
well, we all had chairs and
Yeah.
tables all on that level,
Yeah.
Yep.
and that's where everybody would sit and watch the guy driving the car blindfolded. He'd sit there,
Trying to find it.
and watch him.
We ought to reinstitute
We ought to
that.
reinstitute that. All we need is an oak tree in the middle of the fairway.
Put a big pole or something.
Sure.
Well, that would be funny as hell to see some
It really,
guy
it would
wind up clear over there on the east fence. Clear over the east fence, he drives
be
his
trying to get his car boom against the tree that wasn't there.
I don't know. I think Eddie Bookwalter started that. But it was a circus. We used to be out there every Sunday afternoon. And we had the bar going full tilt.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one thing, this I think will amuse you. One night, one morning, early morning, when the party was breaking up, we went out the door, the north door, you know, out past the woman's locker room, and here was the two Montanus brothers down in the dirt.
Oh.
And Dick, now wait till I got this straight. Bill was the oldest brother.
Yeah.
And then the other boys, what the hell was their name? Dick, I think. Anyway, this guy had been an end on the
The Mills?
Notre Dame football team.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the Notre Dame football team. It wasn't Notre Dame, it was Purdue. Over in Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Purdue. He was an end on the football team. That was Dick Montanus. And here, Bill was a surgeon in Cincinnati. And here, Bill had his football playing brother down in the dirt, just giving him a hell of a maul.
That's a pretty neat trick.
And Joe Shovlin would make, I used to help, would make up games. But there'd be,
What did somebody scaffold you?
and Lonnie Russell
Mm-hmm.
had a girl, he was chasing this girl in Dayton, Miss Clark, and he would bring her up to the Polo Club Sunday night or Saturday night parties, and everybody got riding pretty high, and Miss Clark got to the point where she was just about to pass out, and Liney picked her up and started out that door that goes to the woman's, I think it still
Locker room.
does, to the woman's locker room.
No.
And then you get an outside door.
Outside door. Mm-hmm.
He had Miss Clark in his arms, and he started through that door, smacked her head up against
Oh,
the
ouch.
side of the door, and my cousin Kemper, Kemper yelled out, "My God, he's gonna kill her." We had to get lining.
Oh dear.
Miss Clark.
Poor Miss Clark, she's probably a little worse for the wear.
Well, Linus Russell, I had some minimal contact with, but
Oh, you did?
he was quite a character.
What
And-
about Linus?
And he, what was the company? Well, it was Peters and Russell, wasn't it? His company.
I
And
don't
it
know
was-
if they
yeah.
called it Peters and
I
Russell,
think it was. And he
but it
wound
was
up,
down Yellow Spring Street.
yeah, he was making boat parts.
Oh,
He had a whole bunch of stuff that was used on boats.
Mommy, do you want a drink?
I have.
Oh,
But
Oh,
he did,
yes,
he did
that
a
was
lot
mine.
of traveling and selling this. And my friend George Arthur, who was a professional pilot, flew him.
oh,
And at one time they had a big fat old single engine Cessna, and then they did a lot of flying in a single engine Navion.
yeah.
And Linus was the kind of guy who was going to get where he was going to go by God or else. And George had some stories about the kind of flights that they took that were just unbelievable. I mean, the worst kind of weather you can imagine. When I said, by God, we're gonna go, we're gonna get there. George would get in the airplane, they'd fly.
She was talking about when Linus Russell's
Why?
widow came to visit you.
Oh, she had an apartment here in town. I don't know whether she's still alive, that was an apartment. But anyway, the polo club started in 25. And then they played polo, say, for 10 years. Then the polo came to an end, and the club started to bust open.
Bud, why did the polo quit? Was it just that it was the Depression and it was too costly, or?
I think they found out it was too costly.
Yeah, because that's a hell of an expensive game to play.
Eddie Griner died, or Prouty.
Yeah.
When did Prouty die, Mommy?
Oh, goodness.
Well, Eddie was still going when I came to Springfield, I think. And that was the late 40s.
Well, I think he and Ed Ryder started that.
Because he was a patient.
Who?
Ed Griner.
The best player on the team was Thomas.
Well, I
And he
think,
had the
That
money.
well,
Thomas-
anyway-
What was that, Thomas Tate Company or something like
when
that?
they,
Yeah,
when the
Was that
polo,
wallpaper up there?
remember he had the fingers.
You what?
what,
Wait a second, folks.
Only one finger.
polo left, I thought it was in the 30s.
I never knew much about polo.
I thought it was in the 30s, but anyway, a bunch of older people put money into it to keep the thing operating, not as a polo, but as a
As a club.
as a club.
Mhm.
Georgie Myers, Georgie Foster's mother, Hazel Myers was one of them, and Uncle Joe Cartmel was
Yeah.
one of them.
Uncle Joe.
And there were a group, I think Billy Robbins, the Robbins girls' father. I think there was a group that put money in to keep the club as a going thing. And those older people maintained the club. It didn't fall down. The building.
I understand that Dick Rogers was very generous in what
Oh,
he
yeah,
did
Dick-
in terms of giving land or
Dick
giving it
was-
at a minimal cost.
Dick was very, very
Yeah,
generous.
yeah.
What's happened to it now? Has it folded?
Oh, no,
No, no, no.
It's very active.
No, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
He's in the 1935s, aren't you?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Right?
yeah, about 35.
Wait. Oh. Then it kept going as a social club,
Yeah,
and the building that was already there was kept going,
that's right.
and in
That's right.
35.
And we had a chef named Murph, and Murph had a little bar, a little restaurant down near the city hospital.
Uh-huh.
As I recall, it was across the street from the city hospital. And we got Murph to cook meals there at the Polo Club.
On the weekends? No, Saturday, Sunday.
If somebody wanted to have a party,
No?
Murph would come out there and I think he acted as bartender too.
Yeah, I always thought the most unusual thing was no one ever fell off that bank. The road was as wide as this table.
Yeah, it's still narrow,
Yeah.
Martha.
There were no fences
No, there's still no fences.
and hedges or anything.
And it's still that little narrow road. And nobody falls off of it.
I don't understand. It's magic. I've seen.
Well, when Jonathan Winters was there as a member, were you still a member then? Because we have pictures over the bar of Jonathan Winters, and do you remember, Marty, the name of the black helper that was
No,
so
but
nice?
he was much loved.
Much loved man. And there was a picture of a horse there too, was there not?
Yeah, I guess so. But the black bartender was somebody who had become a tradition. at the Polo Club, and he and Jonathan Winters were very good friends. And this guy lived there and ran the club for quite a few years. That was before we joined.
Oh,
Long before.
I know who you mean, but I
Yeah.
can't think of the name.
Yeah.
He was
Apparently was a
great
really,
friend of
really
John's.
nice guy.
Great friend of Johnny.
Yeah.
What do you remember about Jonathan Winters, the club?
Well, we got a picture of him in one of our books. I've got that. Did you get the thing out of the Springfield paper? His face, you remember seeing that?
No, I don't.
If I can find
Don't
it.
get it right now,
No,
later.
no.
Later.
So,
Are there any other particular characters that you enjoyed at the club while you remember?
Well, he's come forward, I think,
Joe Shovelin.
yeah.
Evelyn?
a lot.
Tell me
the last
about,
2 years.
oh, he has, that's true. What kind of a person was Joe Shovelin?
Oh, Joe was a hell of a guy. He was a great guy.
Yes, he was.
Did you know him too?
I just
Yeah.
loved it.
He was I take friendly, ebullient Irishman, was he?
Yep,
Irish Catholic?
yep.
Good manager? Good businessman?
Yes, good businessman. He built up what was the
Bauer
Shovelin?
Brothers.
What was the Shovelin company name? Superior Gas Engine.
Yeah. But then he took over Bauer.
Yeah, it took over Bauer.
Oh, he
then.
did,
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that.
And Bauer was really the Shovelin enterprise for many years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Bauer, yeah. They were out on Sharon Avenue.
Mhm.
Well, but Joe and I, we had our own group and we instigated these Sunday night parties. That's when Martha was living up in Moline, Illinois. She wasn't there.
More is the pity.
Yes.
More is the picture.
And what time would you go out Sunday afternoons? Would you go out like
Yeah,
4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, or sooner?
Right.
Yeah. We
right.
still do that. It's a lovely
Still do it?
pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a
Well, then
delightful
It's just
thing.
the same as it always is.
Well, I don't know.
It may be an older group, I
It's an
think.
older group.
Oh, an older group.
You know,
Yeah.
we're
Is
We're
the
Well,
among
bar-
the-
older.
Huh?
We're older for
They're-
heaven's
Is
sake.
Yeah.
the bar active?
Oh, yes. Very active bar. Everybody brings his own liquor and has his name on the bottle.
And the bar's where it always was.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
lovely bar.
Yeah.
But these are people all in their 60s and 70s, I
Yeah.
think, now. But we're getting,
Well, that's-
we're getting
that's-
some younger members now. That's good.
I didn't know you had any interest
Oh,
in the
sure.
polo.
You come up next
We love it.
spring and you will take you to the polo club.
Matter of fact, I had my birthday party there last year.
Oh, it was
Which
wonderful.
was my 70th. And it-
What?
You know, and it was one of the regular parties at the Polo Club, and I said, we're gonna make this into a birthday party, so I invited a bunch of people, and I hired a damn good Dixieland jazz band that I knew, and I sat in and played with them, and we had a ball. Everybody had a good time. We really had a good evening.
When was that, Marty?
A year ago this month,
Oh,
January.
Let me write.
No, I don't know. That was a good party. Everybody had a good time.
what?
What else did you do besides play polo and have hijinks? Oh, I don't think the tape recorder heard the story of your having a party up on the hill of your own, of the drink and draw crowd.
Drink and Draw Club.
Okay, tell the
We
tape.
had a clubhouse.
You did?
It wasn't as big as the Polo Club, but it was a damn nice,
Up on the hill.
up on the hill in the woods.
Same ground?
It was in the woods. You couldn't see it from down
Well,
below.
I wonder if that's what has been now become the caretaker's home.
I wondered. Well,
I'll
tell
bet
them
it
about
is.
the party you had there where the youngsters from the polo club charged you.
Oh, that was the 4th of July.
Ah,
Eddie Bookwaller, these younger fellows, they got these Roman candles, and they all lined up, lit these candles, and charged.
charged with a light brigade.
I don't remember whether we had skyrockets to shoot back at them.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear.
As an ophthalmologist, you would have driven me crazy. You would. You know, we are so concerned about eye injuries on the 4th of July,
Yeah.
and that was just the kind of stuff that really created them. Ugh.
Uh,
You remember when they put the pool in?
I can turn the tape off.
Well, I was going to tell you about Martha.
Shall I turn the tape off? Well, wait till we see.
Anyway, Martha had
You
a
can delete
beau
it.
who was the handsomest man I'd ever seen,
Woo.
and he lived in Piqua. And he went to Yale. He went to Exeter first. He went to Exeter,
I was against him.
and this was Martha's beau. And she had a lot of other guys chasing her. I was one of them. But she had this beau who was the best looking. And I think she's still in love with him.
Oh, he's
But
dead.
Maury Orr in Piqua,
What did
he
he have with
held the national, now no Ohio, but a national quarter-mile record runner, a sprinter.
Really?
When he was at Exeter, he held that national record, 20-some-odd seconds. And
That's
Maury,
right where I
I
was
can
at.
remember seeing Maury with Martha up at the shack. Oh, we called it the shack. That was what the name of it.
Okay.
Well, Maury was a pretty good runner, but he didn't run fast enough to catch Martha.
Well, something happened. Well, she knows better than anybody. what
She'll never
happened.
tell.
But there was what was the woman's name in Philadelphia, this very social, who stole Maury away from you?
Oh, Martha,
Oh.
how could you?
Oh, it was just somebody from down here.
Who?
Uh,
Oh, what was her name? Oh, she's well known
she finally dropped Maury and married a Fleischman.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
She thought that was better going.
Well, that was a yeasty situation.
Then he came to Springfield.
Whoa!
Oh,
I had 3 goes at him.
this woman was prominent around town here as a social figure. What the hell was her name? I'm sure it was Philadelphia, honey.
Who?
The woman we're talking about.
Tape recorder, I'll tell you later when we remember his name. It's okay, we'll bring you up to date, tape recorder.
I don't
Oh, if
know.
I mention her name, you know it well, but she's well known down here. And she built a perfectly beautiful house on the lake.
Yeah.
Did you have dances at the Polo Club?
No, this
Or
had,
shoots?
this
Yes,
is
I know. I'm
side
trying to-
stepping to more.
I'm getting back to my tape recorder.
Oh, I remember singing and dancing at the Plaza Grill.
Oh,
And I
dances? Did you?
Oh,
Yeah, sure. Put on a
Thank
platform
Uh-huh.
between this, what do you call that place? The level.
The nice black,
Green.
yeah. The terrace.
Between that and where the pool is.
Oh, you had this outdoors?
Yeah,
Oh,
have dances
yeah.
On the
on a
platform.
platform, put on a platform between
Yeah,
that,
the side entrance and the
Mm.
pool.
yeah.
And you have a
What do you-
band,
What would you call that?
Patio?
patio maybe, it's not
Patio,
level.
maybe.
Terrace?
Terrace, that's the
Yeah.
word, Marty. This green terrace outside the front door.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And that's where we had all of our Sunday afternoon parties, out on that terrace.
Nice place. We now have them, but on the west side, there's a couple
Well,
of steps.
that's what he's talking about.
No, he said between the pool.
Oh,
Well, anyway,
Uh,
we like the outdoors there. It's charming and it's pleasant and the oak trees are beautiful. and the western sun goes down in the evening, you know, and the wind comes up
I
and down.
love
I
that
love it.
club.
Yeah.
Small,
It's small,
Well, I
very
didn't-
pleasant.
I didn't know it was still operating. and that
Okay,
you-
that's a deal. When you
that
come back,
and
Okay.
Lori had any interest in it.
that's a deal. When you come back to Springfield, we'll take you there.
Well, they're doing very much what they apparently did after the club got into trouble and quit polo. And to be a member, you buy a piece of the property
Uh-huh.
at a price which is probably pretty ridiculous in terms of what it's really worth.
It's low.
It's
we
low,
think.
yeah. But you do this, and then if you quit, why, you get your investment back, you know. Somebody else picks it up.
Yeah.
But it keeps it financed. And
Well,
right now, they're apparently doing all right financially. Of course, the crazy bit I think I told you was about the Frank Lloyd Wright furniture. Did I tell you that?
no,
I didn't get that.
Oh, well, they had, you want to turn the tape recorder off?
That's on.
oh,
I'm just wasting tape on that.
Well, did Joe Shovlin maintain an interest in the club
I don't know.
as a club?
I don't know, but Georgiana still is active there.
Georgiana's living there by herself, isn't
Yeah,
she?
but
In the
she's
house,
active
yeah.
in the club.
Huh?
She's
active in the club.
She is active
yeah.
in the club.
Yeah,
she's a
Oh.
beautiful lady. She's
Yeah.
really
she's a nice person.
one of the kind of people who gets more beautiful as she gets older.
We like it.
Very handsome.
We
woman.
haven't seen her for a couple of years.
Well, you have a treat coming.
oh, but Orpha Westcott was a character.
What? Who?
Orpha, Mrs. Westcott.
Oh,
Orpha
well, tell us
Westcott.
about her.
Tell us about Orpha Westcott.
I looked at it.
So- What?
Don't
Now,
forget
tell
what
us
you
about
had
the
in mind.
Westcotts.
Well, she
I'm
did.
hanging on. When she gets through with her story.
Well, she and Mrs. Johnson, Frank Johnson, were great rivals. They were great friends, but they were great rivals,
Socially?
socially.
Uh-huh.
And one would go to Europe and come back, so you gown, and then the other one would come back. And one day they got together and they were talking about just different countries. And Mrs. Wesley said we each got what we needed most. You got the culture, I got the clothes.
Isn't that awful? Oh,
That was a well-known story when I was thinking.
it's devastating.
Do you know anything about the Westcott car? What kind of a car was it? Was it any good? Or,
Well, for 1 or 2 years, it was a good car.
you know? What
It was,
happened?
people,
I think I got a picture.
I
of it.
think your father had one, huh?
We had one, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
But my story, what I want to tell you, is that back in the days we're talking about, that was Prohibition.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so everybody had to have his own liquor.
Right. We still do,
Well,
except it's legal.
yeah. Well, up at the Polo Club, we found out that